Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. If you watched the video that was posted the day previous to today, or today's video at least, it was Rush versus Soma. Well, they happened to play two ladder games in a row, so I thought, you know what, let's cast two of them in a row. Unfortunately, it's not the crazy 14-game series that we saw from Zealot and Rain. I know that you guys really enjoyed that one, but they play a couple games in a row, which is kind of nice to see if there's any adjustments here. We have Soma in the bottom left, and we have Rush in the top right. We're on La Campanella, a 4-player map, which I think a lot of people I've heard say that they like it for Zerg, but honestly, I like this map for Terran overall. I think it's kind of like a small map in the center. You can hit the quote-unquote island bases from outside, like hit the gases with Marines or hit the hatcheries with siege tanks, that type of thing. So it feels like a pretty good, solid map there for Terran. Now, taking a look at these opening builds, I do need to already mention them because this is an 8 racks from Rush in the wall, so he'll go like a double depot on top of it, and he'll expand behind it. But Soma is cross-spawn, right? So he is pretty darn far away, and that means that it's like not likely to do very much damage. Very likely Soma will have a slight edge after these openings. If it's close spawn, I feel like if they don't go pool first, you generally, pro gamer will generally get an edge with the 8 racks. Sometimes you get a Zerg that comes out just perfectly with the drones and really shuts it down, but it's not all that common. Anyways, yeah, it is a hatchery first, so maybe there is some potential here for Soma or Rush to get a bit of damage. Either way, he's sending out both SCVs, and we'll see as he rallies those Marines out if he's able to get any real damage. But while we wait for that, I want to thank you guys very much for all the comments, all the likes on the videos. And I do want to suggest that you subscribe. It's still like 50% of the people that watch the videos are subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification button as well, because I do post a new video every single day. It is super rare for me to miss one. And yeah, we're getting over 365 games a year on this channel. Definitely have some more great plans for it as well. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying. So thank you very much, and thanks for all the support on it. Now, down come the 2 Marines. Soma sees this with a scouting drone. He's going to know, okay, this is an 8 racks. And let's see how many drones he actually sends. I feel like when I see this done well, they send about 8. So let's see. Okay, 8. And so what you have to do here is try to not lose a drone. Let's see what this micro is looking like. One of these lead drones is pretty low. Okay, Soma comes around with a great surround. He's going to lose 2. That's already pretty good for Rush. Rush can back up and be like, okay, this is enough. He's going to want to cancel that, obviously. He knows that there's Lings on the way. I'm actually surprised he's still going, oh my God, he gets another one. That was having to do with bad AI. He's probably going to try to jump this. He'll probably send that right there real quick. Yeah, it's not going to quite work. Okay, so catching the other drone was kind of lucky. What he was going for was to put the Marine here, send an SCV on top of it, hit S, and pop the Marine over, because a Marine back here does a lot of damage. Wasn't able to get that in time, but took the risk. Will end up losing the extra Marine for it, and probably this SCV as well. So he's losing a little bit, but if he had gotten that back there, it would have been worth more than what he just lost. So probably net positive sometimes. Anyways, Marines come out and meet that. Of course, Rush is expanding behind this. Very normal stuff. He's like walking across the map. He will turn these around, but you do like to walk across the map with this and make sure your opponent is making more Lings. In fact, that's what the SCV is trying to check. It's like, uh-oh, drones being popped. So he actually might send this all the way. And the drones can kill it, but this is actually a really good move. Like, this is where pro gamers really make a big difference in the opening game, right? Like, he got all that intel. He's like, wait, do you really only have 1 Ling? And look at this. He's going to get more drones. Like, this is insane. 2 more drones? Are you kidding me? Soma has to be frustrated. He's lost 5 drones this game already. Not good. Because Terran is so happy to trade some Marines for drones when you have a wall like this. Now, if he didn't have a wall, if all this was in his main base or something, I mean, there would be danger here. There could be, like, you know, Zerg can just suddenly make 12 Zerglings or something and do a counterattack. That's not the case, though. When you have a wall like this, where the Marines are popping out on the inside and it's just one very small entrance, Like, you're so happy to kill off extra drones. So Soma's taken a bunch of damage he did not want to take. Definitely, I give Rush a good edge in this game. He's going into Academy here. He's going to want to throw his Engineering Bay down immediately. And, of course, he'll get Stim, throw down Comsats and all that, and try to check that Spire timing. Because I think, actually, when his SCV came in, he might have seen the time that the layer finished. So he probably has a good time in his head for exactly when he needs his missile turrets. Either way, we have Soma getting his second gas ready. He did already pop a drone over to take this third base location. This is the interesting feature of La Campanella, right? You have this small mineral patch, which he's about to mine out, so he can actually send things back there easily. But you get that base, right? And you can only get there through, well, going through here, which you're not going to offensively. But Marines can hit the gas from here. But Sunkens and Lurkers can fit here, so you can block that from dying, but you can't really block a Siege Tank from wrecking it, right? So Siege Tank pushes can be strong here against that type of base. Now, here comes that move out of Marines and Medics from Rush. He's moving out and trying to make sure that Soma is playing very carefully. He throws down 2 Sunkens really quickly against this, so you can kind of count this as 2 more drones loss. It's not exactly, but Terran likes to do this. So that is a lot of drones that could be here that simply are not. Rush has done a fantastic job with the pressure, with reducing that drone count. And now at home, he is making his missile turrets and making sure he's okay. He follows up with the 4 racks that we were talking about in that previous game. 2 racks Academy into 4 racks, a great way to try to pressure your Zerg opponent. You don't have that +1 super fast, but your Marine count does get really nice and high. Now, going to be pushing these Mutas back. It's only 2 Mutas to start, right? So, like, he's making a bunch of missile turrets. He didn't actually need these this quickly, but it's very hard to tell. He actually, somehow this popped out. It looks like this just popped out randomly here, but actually I love putting a missile turret in the back as well. I feel like it's really good against, because Mutalisk harassment here is very, very strong. We'll see if he does anything like that. You don't necessarily have to. Now, 4 Mutas, more on the way, getting up to that very important number of 7. He is still making some more. He has that +1 on the way. Don't forget he has the 3rd base already, so he can, go for like 3 gas and really heavy Mutas if he wants, or of course he can do one of these hive rushes. Now I hear a scan going down. The factory is almost done. This is always the time that you scan, is as your factory's finishing, to figure out if you want 2 starports or you want to go for a siege tank. Now, we can see that there is no Queen's Nest. So a siege tank actually could be strong here. I don't know if Rush is completely aware of it or not. We'll see. The Mutas right now flying in. This is a full group, and there is not good turret coverage. Look at this. These turrets are to block Mutas coming in from this direction. But instead, Soma flew in from down here, and he is destroying with these Mutas. He is absolutely destroying. He kills all of the Marines and Medics that come up. He's almost killed, well, he's put some damage onto the Academy. He's killing more Marines that are coming up to fight him right now. The SCVs have to run away to the geyser. He's slowing the starport. This is a terrible situation for Rush. And suddenly you can look at this worker count. Okay, he flies out over the turret, so he does take some damage there. And he ends up losing 5 Mutalisks, but absolutely enough damage for it. Brings him back down to 32 workers. So 32 is like, that's like normally when you're making turrets, you have around 32 workers, right? So that was 3 minutes ago. That's a little bit painful. Doesn't end up losing the Academy, so that's good, but he did lose a lot of bio. He did lose a lot of SCVs. And so let's look back at Soma. Soma's made, oh wow, a ton of Sunkens. So he's just making sure right now that he doesn't die to a counter push. I think that's what the idea was when he dived with the Mutas. That's like a great thing to do. If your opponent is on something like a 4 racks and trying to pressure you out on the map, you either bring the Mutas back to block it, or if you want to dive with the Mutas, you make a ton of sunken colonies. And then the Bioforce can't do anything, and you're getting massive damage with those Mutas. So some strong play here from Soma. He is kind of dogging that Marine army, as you can see right now, flying around it. He's got a full contingent of Mutalisks once again at 11. This gas is up and mining, and this might be the next thing that Rush tries to take out. You see, he scans here and gonna go ahead and try to kill this extractor. So that's gonna be a really solid kill. Oops, a couple drones being rallied up there. The Muta's harassing this natural expand. Like I said, this is actually, it's a hard one to defend. That's why I like to put some turrets up behind. He hasn't opted to do that. You know, the turrets are getting some hits as he goes in, but you can see that Soma's getting very good damage with Mutalisks so far this game. Now, double evolution chamber. Lurkers on the way. This is a really interesting game from Soma. He's really playing different from what we're used to in this matchup, right? Very heavy on the Mutalisk harassment. By the way, it's 1 starport. The reason why it's 1 starport here is because a lot of damage has been dealt. It's like, you know, if no damage is dealt, you can afford 2 starport right away, and that just wasn't the case. So it's kind of like stifled starports. He will get into 2. But not able to do it right away. He has a single vessel as a radiate on the way, and he's actually going for a dropship very quickly. So he's going to try to sneak some damage. You know, he's going to try, like, maybe hit 1 irradiate on these Mutas. Dude, they keep doing so much damage. This is insane, the amount of Marines he's killed with these Mutalisks this game. Absolute insanity. Oh, and he irradiates the exact wrong Muta. He irradiated a very, very weak Mutalisk. So it died instantly and barely did any splash damage. So the Mutas will continue. I think he was looking here. He had an Overlord that should have seen the dropship, but I think he was too focused. So I don't know if he realizes. Yeah, Knight is going up. He is making some lurkers here, but this could be just put here. A scan goes down on this location because that's where he wants to drop. Oh, he's definitely going to get some damage here. Soma could be in a bit of trouble. All of his Mutas out of position here to fight against the drop. So a great counterplay here from Rush. Stims as he comes out of this dropship. Might want to go for the Nidus. The Nidus is a great kill here. The 3 lurkers are almost done. And he's going to try to kill them, it looks like. He's going to get all 3 of them and actually still has like 4 Marines left. Going to drop out some more. Oh my God, the Defiler's being picked off too. Absolute insanity here from Rush. Just ridiculous. 8 Marines still out here. The Mutalisk flock has been reduced a lot from all of its harassment. Dude, that 1 dropship getting by, ruining this game for Soma. Absolutely ruining it for him. Beautiful, beautiful play here from Rush Kamek. I can't believe he got the hatchery. I actually can't believe that he got the hatchery here. That's insane. The amount of damage that 1 dropship ended up doing. Soma was like basically, in my opinion, outplaying Rush in like every way. And like I mentioned, the dropship was a risk. He was just he's like, well, I'm behind. I need to do something. And he snuck that by. There was an Overlord to spot it, but Soma just did not see. If he had seen that dropship, the game would probably be just about over right now. Instead, Rush has a big advantage. Right now, he's roaming with some vessels, with 1-1 Marines all over the place. We do have Defilers. We still have Sunkens to slow everything down, right? He's getting Plague. He's getting Hydras and Lurkers, and he has the double evolution chamber. And this is actually exactly what Soma needs to do if he wants to win this game. Like, I think the only composition that has a chance is Hydra Lurker Defiler. Hydra Lurker Defiler is the hardest thing to kill that there is, basically. Like, SK Terran, which is Marine Medic Science Vessel, cannot really break it, right? Because you get so many Defilers, you just have Plagues and Dark Swarms forever. Your vessels become much less useful because they target with Plagues, and the Hydras zone them out really well. And Irradiates don't really work on Hydras because you just turn them into Lurker Eggs, right? So there's like a lot of things that make it really difficult. It's a great comeback mechanic. Well, not mechanic, but it's a great comeback strategy because it's so hard to kill, and it gives Terran lots of opportunities to make mistakes. It keeps you alive for a very, very long time. So Rush right now getting an additional base, and I'm wondering, where's the factory? Where's the factory? We're looking for the factory. Here it is. Yep, he's going to make it the add-on. So generally when you see them going for the Hydra Lurker Defiler, you can try to keep the pressure up with dropships, vessels, Marine Medic, add some fire bats in there, that type of thing. Or you can go into siege tanks. 2 to 3 factory siege tanks will make it almost impossible for this to attack you. It's hard to push with those siege tanks because Dark Swarm pushes do beat smaller amounts of siege tanks, but obviously when you start getting up into big numbers, you do start to kill stuff under the Dark Swarm reasonably well. Not a single lurker, but like if a lot of stuff runs under the Dark Swarm, you definitely can. So a lot of interesting things happening right now. as Soma tries to come back, but he is on the brink still. Don't forget, look at this 70 supply. That's what I'm always talking about. If you fall below 70, you're basically dead. So Soma is right on the edge of being alive right now. A single lurker up here, defiler down here with these hydras. And I think Rush is just, he's in too much control this game. Look at this. He's going to cancel this gas out once again. Or should at least. Doesn't quite get it. Okay, good save there. Throws down the Dark Storm, utilizes that with the Hydralisks. We have siege mode on the way. Only one factory. Only one factory, which I actually... Here's the thing. I think one factory siege tanks is actually worse than 0 factory siege tanks here. Because, like, 1 or 2 tanks the Zerg can just ignore. Like, you really should make a bunch, right? Like, I think it's good to throw down 2 or 3 factories. Get out the amount of siege tanks you want. It's like, okay, well, do you want to make siege tanks all game? Well, I guess that's fine. But what are you looking for, like 7 siege tanks? Just get them out and then focus on your other stuff, right? Because once you have, like, let's say you have like 7 siege tanks here, they can't attack you. So you have your 3 bases very, very secured at that point. All right, either way, we have a drop ship loaded up for Rush flying around. Darkstorm coming up. You can see the Firebat under here wins, right? So he just turns some of these into eggs. Those can't really be killed. Backs up. You saw there was a nice move there where he ran forward with the Marines because then they won't take damage under the Darkstorm, just like the Hydras. But of course, the Firebat will finish them. Some Lings have been added in, and he's going to put those Lings mostly on top of the Marines. Runs up with this Lurker. Kind of weird scrappiness going on there from Soma. He wants to bring the attention onto the other side of the map, but Rush has walked around everything now. Brings up his vessels, brings up his Marines and Medics. Yeah, the Hydra's coming out trying to zone this. You can see how hard it is. Look at that. Only 3 Hydras, and he barely got their Radiate off. Very, very good zoning, and then targets the other one down that had been plagued already. Very tough to hit those irradiates how you want them. That's, again, that's part of the reason why you go for these siege tanks. It just gets very tough to utilize those vessels. You can use the gas better elsewhere. Although it is, again, very hard to attack with those siege tanks. Now, up comes a tiny, tiny force. This is Soma, again, playing a very scrappy game. And look at this. He's throwing down his plagues. He's trying to reduce that vessel count. If he can get rid of all the vessels, he can make, like, impenetrable areas. Right? The vessels gain you value over time. You definitely want those to continue to irradiate throughout. You got to be careful, though, as he sees these Hydras, right? Ooh, gets a few of them off. The Hydras just barely not kill him. See? There you go. Kills another one. Getting as many as he can. Really reducing that count. Great job by Soma. He's picked off a ton of vessels. His supply is still very low, though. We're at 81 supply here for Soma. 144 for Rush. Rush still roaming about the mid. Has 4 tanks now. Okay, has that second factory, maybe a little bit late on that, but is getting up to a much healthier siege chain count. Looks like he wants to take a more forward position. Interested what he's going to do with that. Like, is he going to try to set up an attack? He's bringing the tanks up. I think this is his goal, is if he can kill this base, he knows Soma has to leave. There's just no way to play it anymore. Now, Soma coming up with his full force. He is going to have a couple Dark Storms. Let's see how he utilizes them. Okay, he throws a Plague down on those vessels that are... Some of them were already plagued. He does still have enough for a Dark Storm. Let's see it. Throws a Dark Storm down. And look at this. He's going to be able to pick off a lot of vessels here, I think. Oh, just barely gets him out of range. Pulls those siege tanks back as well. And I think Soma's just about out of gas. Well, not literally, but figuratively here. This is getting pretty bad for him at this point. Look at this. His supply dropping once again. He's down near 70. And that's the edge where you just can't stay alive anymore. You can see, right? He's barely pulling together a defense in this game. All right, loses another Hydra there. Rush just going left and right, rotating around these mineral patches, making it hard for Soma to catch his army. Soma throwing down spells as he can. More Defilers coming out. Gonna try to zone out some of these vessels, pick some of them off. Great Irradiates come down onto those Defilers. So he's gonna lose all of his spellcasters once again. Good Plague goes down beforehand. Yeah, gets another vessel there. Gonna pick off some of these plagued units as well. Definitely needs to walk back against the main force, though. Another group there for Rush. Taking another command center as well. More and more siege tanks coming out. Tons of siege tanks right now. Soma has managed to get another base, but again, this is such a tough position. Where does Soma end up going here? He has defilers on both edges. Yeah, throws a decent plague down, throws the Darkstorm down, but, you know, obviously the tanks can splash through this. There's fire bats in this army, so they can come out under and splash through it. He's got just so little left over at this point. The siege tanks coming forward. Yeah, this is where he's going to get it. Rush has finally boxed him back into a position where Rush can siege this base, I think. All right, he's going to... Oh, loses that Defiler, so can't even get the Darkstorm down. This should be the end of the game. Drops below 70 supply. Instantly GG. And, yeah, an interesting game there. It did come down to that sneaky dropship. I actually want to jump back and see if Soma saw the dropship, okay? Because that was really the most important part of the game. So if you would just hold with me for a second, or just turn it off if you want, that's fine too. Right, so he makes one vessel into one dropship. So here the dropship comes. This is what won Rush the game, or allowed Rush to win the game. Wait, no. Okay, so he absolutely saw it. Well, he could have seen it, and you can see Rush is actually... You see where the vision is? There's this one little strip where you might be able to sneak it, and he actually was very close to hitting that, but just barely goes through the vision here. So Soma had amazing vision, but as you saw, he was harassing with the Mutas during this time, so the dropship got out. And he just doesn't have vision. He has vision of this one medic here. He had vision for a second there and missed it. And that's the difference between victory and defeat, because look at this. Like, literally has a drone advantage, has a beautiful economy, beautiful defenses, great upgrades coming, but misses that one dropship. Anyways, Rush takes him down. Hope that you guys enjoyed the game, and thanks for watching.